The crack of the twig under my boots was all it took to make me freeze. I'd hiked alone many times and the dense forest had never bothered me. But today, the trees seemed very quiet, the kind of stillness that made you feel uncomfortable. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, I knew I should have turned back already, but I was so close to the peak. I was almost ready to push on when the earth seemed to snap beneath me. Pain shot through my leg like electric and shot up my thigh, moving through every nerve, making my vision blur. I let out a mighty scream. When I looked down, I was horrified to see jagged metal teeth dug into my leg, clamping down like a vise. I had stepped into a bear trap. The shock numbed the pain for a second as I tried to pry it open, but it was hopeless. My heartbeat pounded in my ears as the reality sunk in. I was trapped alone in the mountains. The sun was almost gone now and darkness was closing in. The forest stretched out around me and it was getting colder. I sat on the ground for what seemed to be hours with no way to free myself. I know this was bear territory, and if I'm unable to free myself, I'm sure as hell going to become their dinner. As I was pulling and tugging at the metal, still screaming in pain, I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, and much too close for my liking, but I had no choice. I had to ask for help. "Hello?" I called out, but no one answered. The footsteps stopped just outside my line of sight. "I can see you," I whispered, hoping to bluff them out. A silhouette shifted. Something or someone was watching me from just beyond the trees. I couldn't make out a face, only the glint of something sharp, something metal. By now I was desperate and continued my struggle against the trap, ignoring the searing pain. Whoever, or whatever, was out there, I knew I had to get away. No matter how hard I tried, every attempt only tightened its hold on me, leaving me at the mercy of whatever was in the trees. Just as I began to lose hope, I saw movement in the shadows. The figure, just barely visible, was standing a few feet away. He was tall, thin, and hunched over. He wore a hat, a long coat, and had a cigar between his lips. Clutched in his hand was an axe. "Please, please help me," I whispered, my voice barely above a breath. The figure stepped closer, and now I could see its face in the dim moonlight. His mouth stretched into a grin. His eyes were cold and dark. He knelt down beside me and slowly reached his hand toward my trapped leg. I flinched as his cold, bony fingers touched the bear trap. He gave it a small, curious tug. But instead of helping me, he tilted his head and began to laugh. I realized with a sickening twist in my stomach that this man had no intention of helping me. He had been waiting for the sun to go down, waiting for me to be too weak to fight. By now, I was in panic mode. I no longer cared if it hurt. I kicked and screamed and tugged at the trap, but it wouldn't give way. The man stood up, lifted the axe above his head, and brought it down on me. Everything went black. My eyes fluttered open. The man was gone, but I couldn't move. As darkness settled through the forest, I heard the metal teeth snap shut again. Not on me, but close enough to send a wave of icy terror through me. I wasn't the only prey caught in the dark.